good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's me again, Jen. Hello! And I'm on my own today, but I always have all of you. So, I'm not really alone. I'm never really alone. Things in my head. Anyway, this is my last video of February, and the last we will be talking about the lovers cards exclusively. Although I'm sure they'll pop up again in future videos on different decks and things like that. But I also thought I would give you guys a little something extra special today. I am starting a new deck next month, brand new, exciting. It is called the Star Spinner Tarot. It does have this cute little book. This is practically a brand new deck. It came out in 2020, and it comes with a really cute little box that's very sturdy and has some really neat imagery even on the inside of the box. And the coolest thing about it is that it does come with a very different sort of take on the lovers cards. It comes with not one, not two, but 4 lovers cards. 4 lovers cards. 4 different ones. So there are several decks. I think we talked to Ra from Raw Intuition about how her deck also comes with a couple of different extra cards and things. But I gotta tell you, this is the first deck I've ever had that I've owned personally in my collection that has multiples of a particular card. So shiny backs, pretty. This video is probably going to run a little longer than the rest. I was going to do it for Valentine's Day, but I got super distracted, and so I decided I'm going to do it as our last video for February and kind of segue into the next month of March, because I'm giddy to talk about this deck of cards because they're super pretty. They're very pastel and fun and a little abstract-y, a little art deco-y. So, okay. All right, we're going to focus, I promise. Okay, I want to talk about each one of the lovers cards individually, and then maybe I will tell you which one is my favorite, but I also would love to know which one is your favorite too. I'm going to start with this one only because it was the one on the top of my little stack of lovers cards, and this is obviously not your traditional lovers card. Both of the characters in here are presenting very masculine, so this is definitely not like the masculine feminine balance of things, but it does have the light and shadow balance. So I really can appreciate that even though they were like, okay, let's take this a little differently. Let's go with lovers in the sense of maybe same-sex lovers, lovers that present as masculine. Let's do that, but also let's keep true to the meaning of the card by doing one is kind of the shadow self and the other is the presenting self, the sun sign. So it's solar and lunar and darkness and light, and all of those things are still represented in this card. I really love the arrows coming down from the sky on this one. I think that still shows that there is some connection to the divine. There's also the divine halo crown on the back of the one that's kind of more lighter, more the sun sign aspect. And the shadow self, the more like earth self, shall we say, is got flowers in their hair, and there's flowers over here on the bottom. I love the colors of this card. I like its kind of brights and more muted tones without being like really, we had other cards that were like, this is really shockingly bright and this is a little bit much, but it still has this kind of more muted, mellow feel to it. And it does feel very comic book art too, and that we'll talk about next month because the artist is very much into comic book art. So there is that one. Then, oh, and it still does say the lovers at the bottom, and it has the number 6 at the top in Roman numerals. And you'll notice with all these cards, they've got like the star and kind of this lace background frame that goes around with it. So that's one. The next one I have is, now this one has also some of the other symbols represented in it. So we've got the apples, which are blue, which I think that's just an artist's choice. I'm not sure that that's meant to mean anything more. I appreciate that there's like the heart floating in the center here, And that is what has the halo around it. That is what has the divine light. So love and divine light and all of those kinds of things are represented in that sense. These characters are, I would say that they're kind of masculine and feminine. They're almost androgynous, but not really. The features are obscured, but it is, I would say, it's pretty clear that this is feminine and masculine energies. They're both looking at one another. They're reaching towards one another. But because the divine energy is between them, I feel like they're also kind of looking at that as well. So it has the tree, check, we've got that. It has the divine energy, check, we've got that. We have masculine and feminine represented, so that's really cool. And it does have kind of the tree behind the feminine as well. What I think is interesting is that the tree of knowledge is behind the masculine energy rather than behind the feminine, which is kind of the opposite. When we're usually looking at a more traditional card, we have the kind of tree that is more on fire is behind the masculine energy, and the tree of knowledge, the apple tree, is behind the feminine. So I don't know if that was a choice or just balancing things out, because obviously the feminine, there's a lot more like hair floating around back here. So it might have just been a choice to say, hey, I want you to be able to actually see that there are apples back here. So I'm going to put it on this side of the person that has less hair flowing around their head. So that is card number 2. I'm super excited about this. So far we've kind of had a gray, purpley color, and this one is more blue, kind of muted tones all the way around except for the heart. Kind of makes me wonder if there's supposed to be like a heart behind this one too, but I don't know. All right, so, all right, this is another one that has the apple tree in the background. These apples are red, and they are, I think it does stick to the more traditional sense, but once again, we have kind of 2 characters who are rather androgynous looking. This one could be feminine. There's some bumps there. There's some lady lumps. So definitely could be feminine. The other one, it's a little hard to tell. I would say, hey, it could be both female. They could be both androgynous. They both have a lot of flowing hair, which I think might just be kind of this artist's thing, is to kind of go, oh, I want more flowy hair. I want more like movement and flow to these pictures. This one, the divine energy is very much behind them. So it's like the whole background is made of the divine energy. I don't see the hearts in this one. I do see the flowers of life and blood and all that kind of thing behind them. But what is interesting is that this character is clearly looking down, and this is again kind of in the more darker tones. This is like shadow self kind of thing. And the other one is lighter and brighter, more of like that divine energy sort of thing. So this one is looking down, this one is looking away. I'm not sure if it's meant to be kind of looking back at this divine energy that's way behind them or what the deal is, but this one is clearly looking at the individual here, kind of downcast eyes, but still looking at their partner rather than up at like the divine. This one is looking to something else. So we have that sort of energy on there. And it does, much like the others, say the lovers down at the bottom and the 6 in the Roman numerals at the top. All right, this is the last one. And this is the one that to me has the most, and I totally didn't plan this, but it worked out really well. This is the one that to me sticks to the most of the symbols in the more traditional one. So, ta-ta-ta! All right. So we have the apple tree. It's just a branch here, and it only has 2 apples on it. I think we keep losing apples with every one of these cards. So we started out with 6 on that one. We had 4 on this one. The 2 masculine characters have none, and this one only has 2. So we have the 2 apples on the apple tree branch. We have this one is to me much more masculine looking. They have more masculine looking arms and features and things like that, a little more square jaw, heavier brow, that kind of thing. All of the things you would kind of perceive as being more masculine leaning. And he is looking up, clearly looking up at his partner, and she is looking kind of across and over to, there's our angelic being. So we have the divine energy little circle on here, but we actually have the divine being on this one. We have the angel who is holding an arrow. So I guess kind of technically the divine energy on this one too is the arrows, maybe. So we have the arrows. This is clearly like angelic being with the wings and the halo and all that good stuff going on. And then she is up here kind of looking out into that angelic being, that energy in the background. I love the color differentiation on this one. I like that the background is very bright yellow and kind of gives that warmth and that divine glow to it. And then both of our characters here are kind of both in kind of a purplish color. So they are neither light nor dark. They are neither shadow nor brightness. They're kind of both a little bit, but I can see how this one is reaching into that more esoteric side of partnership and love and the lovers. It's the higher self, the divine self, connecting to the greater cosmos, to your divine entity, whatever that may be, God or universe or however you want to perceive it. So this one sticks very much to that sort of meaning. This one, I think, definitely has more about lovers being partners as like the physical. So these are your physical partners, because I don't see the divine energy too much in this one. This one as well, I think, is more about the partnership between two individuals. And this one is a little bit of both, because I think that while it is about that partnership and reaching to one another and kind of sharing the love between two individuals, that heart is definitely given off the whole universal love, divine energy sort of feel to it. So I would say that that kind of leans into a little bit of divine love and that kind of thing too. Also, this one and the other two with the apples on it, that's got that knowledge aspect, the grander knowledge of the universe and, you know, downloads and that kind of stuff. And downloads in the sense of like past life and Akashic rather than downloads on computers, although they're pretty similar. But anyway, this one I think is the one that is the most to do with love, as in, you know, two individuals being in love. People who are in a corporeal form being in love. Let's go with that. So out of all of these, what do you think would be your favorite? Let me know. I will just say that this is 1 and this is 2 and 3 and 4 or something like that. Or you can tell me the one that has the two masculine figures or the one with blue apples. I don't know. But either way, this is really fun. So the whole purpose to this of having multiple cards in a deck is that you are supposed to choose one for doing your readings. I gotta say, I probably will bend the rules on that, because to me, if each one of these represents something just a little bit different, I might say, you know what, I'm gonna leave them in there. And if this one comes up, I'm probably gonna interpret it more as this is love in the sense of two humans, and this one is more divine, and this one might be like a partnership or something like that. I don't know. But when they come up, I don't know. I might leave them in. I might swap them out depending on what venue I'm at. It might just depend on my mood. But either way, I will say, like, this is one of my favorites for sure. This is high on my list. And I really love this one too, just because the color scheme on it is absolutely gorgeous. So those are my favorites. I hope to hear about yours as well. This one ran way longer than any of my other videos, but that's because there's a lot of cards to talk about. And yes, I look forward to sharing more of the Star Spinner Tarot with you, and all month long in March. So yay to that too, and consider this kind of my big lover's Valentine to all of you. And thank you, all of you, so much for watching these videos and learning from them and experiencing them. I do this just because I love the cards and I love sharing this stuff, but it does kind of give me a little squee moment when people are like, hey, I watched your video. That does bring me joy. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.